Hello, this is Mike from ZSA, here to walk you through how to connect your keyboard to live training and to use that to practice your layout. You can connect to live training using any of our keyboards, including with their default layouts if you just got your keyboard and you're looking to practice. As for me, today I'm going to be using my Planck EZ keyboard, as well as a Planck EZ layout that I've been working on for a little while here. Anytime you're looking at a layout in Oryx, whether it's the default or a layout that you've made, all you need to do to start training is go up to the top right-hand corner and click the train button, which will take you to the live training page. You can also get here by typing configure.zsa.io/train into your web browser. Once we're here, we need to pair our keyboard with live training. So to do that, I'm going to click the start training button, select my keyboard, and then hit connect. Once I do this, it's going to have me finalize the pairing process by pressing a couple keys on my keyboard. So it wants me to press the T key, and I'll do that. Then it wants me to press the A key, and then the P key. And once I've done that, I'm now paired with live training. So if I press some keys, you can see they start to light up right there in that live view. I can press the Q key or the W key or the E key. And live training does this not by reading key presses that I'm sending to my computer. We're not reading those. It actually communicates directly with the keyboard and reads the position on the key matrix that I'm pressing or holding down. So if I press that Q, it knows that. But also if I hold down a layer switch, it knows that even though I'm not sending a key press to my computer right now. It knows the position and is able to reference that with my layout that's stored in Oryx to display even when I'm switching layers. Very cool. This is built into our keyboards at the firmware level, and there aren't any drivers necessary, but you do need a web browser that supports the Web USB technology, which any modern Chromium browser should work just fine, like Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge. It is worth noting that if you're on Linux, there are a few extra steps to get this working, and you can read about that in our GitHub wiki. The next thing I want to go over are the different typing exercises that we have here. We've been adding these to live training since 2019, and we have quite a few here in 2023, but who knows, by the time you're watching this, there could be some new ones to try out. The first one here is Prose, or Alice in Wonderland, where you're just going to be typing through an excerpt from the Alice in Wonderland book. And as you go, live training will display your correct key presses and your missed key presses. Just a simple typing exercise. Next up is book excerpts, which is pretty similar to the last one, except that it uses a variety of book excerpts from a couple different books, rather than just Alice in Wonderland. I really like the variety of typing styles you get to go through with this, so this is one of my favorites. After you practice some normal typing with prose and book excerpts, it can be helpful to try out numbers and symbols, which will focus in just on numbers and symbol keys. This is definitely helpful if you're relearning some muscle memory for where those numbers or symbols are, and you can filter symbols or numbers specifically if you want to practice one or the other, and you can add specific keys that you want to practice if you turn both these off. Let's say I just want to practice my $sign, my $sign or my star symbol there. If I add those in, it'll just quiz me on those specific symbols. Whack a key is a new mode that we added that takes things a step further here, where I can choose one layer and then live training will quiz me on that layer. It'll have me try and press one key from that layer here that's highlighted without looking at the layout at the time. We added something neat to this as well, where if you do miss a key, the key will actually, or the correct key will actually light up on your keyboard, which makes it easy to identify and then work on that muscle memory. If you work in code, we have some samples from popular coding languages right here in live training that you can type through for practice. You can also input your own custom text and then type through it, similar to what you do for prose or book excerpts. And then lastly, we also have free typing where you can just press some keys and they'll show up here in this text box. All right, now that we've gone over those different typing exercises, I'd like to do a practice one with the book excerpts because it's one of my favorites. You can adjust the time per the lesson up here in the top right, but just for the sake of the video, I'm going to leave it at 1 minute here. So I can click start training. And it doesn't actually start until I press a key. So I can take a second to kind of scroll the page down so I can see a little more of my layout, get comfortable in my chair, and then I can start typing. And as I type, you can see it reflects my key presses there. Most of them have been correct. But let's say I miss a key. Let's say instead of pressing S, I press D here. You can see it doesn't actually continue to the next key there until I press the right letter. And that's because we think that accuracy is really important. We want you to start learning those accurate positions for those keys when you're getting used to a new layout or a new keyboard. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up and we'll see what happens next. And there we go. So when we finish that typing lesson, even before we show you any breakdown or numbers, the first thing we're going to ask is, how comfortable was that for you? We don't do anything with this data, but it's just kind of a nice question to ask after each session to make yourself think a bit about, did I like where the keys were on my layout? Was I comfortable while I was typing? Were my hands in a comfortable position? Was I relaxed, or was I feeling kind of stressed out there? Just a nice check-in for how you're feeling. For me, that was an okay one. I think somewhere between I'm getting there and pretty good. We'll say I'm getting there this time. And once you finish that, it'll take you to this next page, which will give you first and foremost your accuracy. This is pretty important because under 95% accuracy, we won't give you your words per minute or anything like that. We believe that accuracy is the key to getting comfortable on a new keyboard or a new layout. And we don't want you to focus on speed too early on there. So I'm grateful I got 95% accuracy here, because if I didn't, then we wouldn't be able to see our words per minute. But you can see 58, not my fastest ever. That's okay. The error breakdown here gives me an overview of what keys I missed. It looks like I missed T a few times, so maybe I need to work on my T muscle memory or be careful on how I'm typing words with the letter T. Down here, as long as you're signed into an Oryx account, it will start to track your stats, so your different words per minute and accuracy over time. It'll give you a little graph, as well as a training history. Just a little calendar view here that can show you the different days you've trained on. All right, now that we're done with that training exercise, I have one or two more things to show y'all here in live training. The first is the heat map. You can leave this running in the background as you're working, doing something else on your computer, and it will tally up the key presses to give you a live representation of how you use your keyboard and your layout. This can be really helpful if you want to see what parts of your keyboard you could be using more often, or if there are some different keys and areas where you could break up the functions a bit to more evenly distribute that load between your hands or between your fingers. And lastly, if we go back to the live view here, I can click this full screen button to blow the keyboard view up very large. And I can move this window around, probably resize it so I can see it a little better. There we go. And I can have this in the corner here while I'm working on something else. I can pull up like a notepad, and I can type into this notepad, all while still being able to reference my layout here, see my layer switches, that kind of thing. This is really helpful for if you want some reference while you're getting used to your layout. And that's pretty much it. That's live training and the different typing modes here. Go ahead and give it a shot on your board. Jump on in. We recommend when you're first getting used to a new layout or a new keyboard that you practice once or twice every day. That can really be helpful to get you more comfortable, give you some focused time to learn the keys and work on muscle memory. If you have any questions about this, feel free and shoot us an email. Cheers and bye-bye.